Why do some people stay sick even after years of praying with all their heart? It's the question nobody wants to ask out loud because it feels wrong, like doubting, like betrayal. But deep inside, the question still echoes, quietly. Ladies and gentlemen, painfully, you've seen it, good people, people with strong faith, people who pray every single day, still suffering, still waiting, still hoping for healing that never seems to come. And maybe you're one of them. Maybe you've been crying out to God, begging for relief, doing everything you know to do, and still the pain lingers. The illness stays. The struggle continues. And somewhere deep inside, you wonder if you're the problem. But you're not alone, and you're not broken. There's a truth you need to hear today. One that has the power to shift everything. Healing isn't about saying the right words in the right way at the right time. It's not a formula. It's not performance-based. And it's not about earning a miracle through effort. It's about alignment. Real, full alignment between your body, your mind, your heart, and your spirit. Because true healing, lasting, transformative healing, doesn't just touch the surface. It reaches into every layer of your life. This is why some people stay sick even after praying, not because God is ignoring them, not because their faith is weak, but because something is out of alignment, not just spiritually, but emotionally, mentally, physically. And if we're brave enough to face that, not with shame, but with hunger for truth, we open the door for something deeper than temporary relief. We open the door to real transformation. Healing doesn't always come in the way we expect. Sometimes it comes through sudden breakthrough. Other times it comes step by step, layer by layer, truth by truth. And sometimes before the body is healed, the heart must be restored. The mind must be renewed. The soul must be set free from the weight it's been carrying for years. The prayers aren't wasted. The faith hasn't failed. But maybe, just maybe, the healing you're seeking is waiting on something more than words. It's waiting on surrender, on letting go hidden pain, of bitterness, of fear, of habits that sabotage what you're praying for. This message is not about guilt. It's about hope, because if your healing depended on how hard you prayed, many of you would already be whole. But it doesn't. It depends on something higher. Alignment with truth, with love, with wholeness. That's what unlocks the breakthrough. And once you understand that, everything changes. So don't turn away. Don't give up. Stay with this. Because by the time you reach the end, you'll understand why some people stay sick and how you can walk the path toward healing with boldness, clarity, and unshakable faith. You'll see what's been missing. And you'll discover the freedom that's been waiting for you all along. Healing isn't far. It's closer than you think. You've been taught to pray. You've been told to believe. And you've done both over and over again. But if belief was just about saying the right things, many would be healed already. Faith isn't just in your words. It's in your wiring. It's not about how loud you pray, but how deeply your thoughts and emotions align with what you say. You can speak healing every day and still expect sickness in your heart. You can declare strength and still be ruled by fear. That's not weakness. That's the human condition, and it's exactly why so many people stay stuck in a cycle of hope and disappointment, because what they believe consciously is being sabotaged by what they expect subconsciously. The mind is powerful. Every thought sends signals. Signals that affect your body, your energy, even your immune system. You can't separate spiritual faith from mental focus. They work together. If you've been praying for healing, but rehearsing worst case scenarios in your mind, your body feels that. If you declare life but dwell in fear of death, your nervous system stays in survival mode. And when your nervous system is locked in fear, healing is delayed. The body can't thrive when the mind is trapped. Faith is not pretending. It's not ignoring the facts. It's choosing to believe in something higher than the facts. But belief has to live deeper than the lips. It must take root in your imagination, your self-talk, your inner dialogue. What do you expect when you wake up? What do you see when you picture your future? Do you visualize health or more struggle? Do you brace for pain or do you expect progress? This is the moment to get honest, not to shame yourself, but to set yourself free. Because until you align your inner world with your spoken faith, you will live in conflict. You'll say one thing and feel another. You'll ask for healing, but emotionally prepare for more pain. And that silent expectation can be the very thing keeping your miracle at arm's length. Healing starts in the heart, but it grows in the mind, and your mind needs new patterns, new thoughts, new images, new expectations. You don't have to fake it. You have to retrain it. Speak the truth until your mind believes it. Imagine health until your body follows it. Expect breakthrough until your spirit catches fire again. You were never meant to live in constant fear, doubt, or mental exhaustion. That's not faith. It's fatigue. But you can rise. You can shift. You can rewire your belief from the inside out. And when your faith is no longer just a hope, but a deep-rooted expectation, things begin to move. Not because you forced it, but because you finally aligned. This isn't magic. It's motion. And it begins with your thoughts. Healing isn't just something you wait for. It's something you align with. Starting now, starting within. What you hold in your heart can either heal you or hold you hostage. You can speak health, believe for it, even visualize it. But if your heart is carrying old wounds, silent anger, or buried bitterness, your healing may be delayed. Not because you're being punished, but because your heart is still closed. Healing flows through open places, not hardened ones, and it's often the pain we refuse to release that quietly blocks the answer we've been crying out for. You cannot walk in freedom while chained to resentment. You cannot receive wholeness while clinging to fragments of the past. Unforgiveness isn't weakness. It's a weight, one you were never meant to carry. Yet many carry it anyway, sometimes for years, sometimes for decades, against a parent, a friend, a partner, a stranger, even against themselves, and that pain becomes the filter through which they see life, faith, and even healing. Bitterness doesn't just poison relationships, it poisons the body. It creates stress, tension, dis-ease. The mind replays the offense, the heart holds onto the memory, and the body responds with inflammation, fatigue, illness. You may not realize it, but what you haven't released emotionally is still speaking physically. It's still affecting your energy, your sleep, your clarity, your immune system. Forgiveness isn't just a spiritual act. It's a healing one. It's not about excusing the wrong. It's about choosing to stop bleeding from it. You were never designed to live in cycles of silent pain. You were made to rise, to let go, to be free. And forgiveness is the key that unlocks that freedom, not because the other person deserves peace, but because you do. Because your body needs it. Because your future depends on it. Because your healing is tied to a heart that is willing to be soft again, open again, alive again. This is not about denying what happened. It's about refusing to be defined by it. You are not your past. You are not what they did. You are not what they didn't say, didn't do, didn't give. You are more. And until you let go of what hurt you, you cannot fully grab hold of what's meant to heal you. Some people stay sick not because they lack faith, but because they haven't surrendered the bitterness still rooted beneath their faith. They pray for healing, but that their heart is still clenched, still guarded, still holding something it was never meant to carry. And healing cannot flow through a heart closed by resentment. You have the power to change that right now. You have the power to release, to forgive, to let go. You have the power to breathe again. Not because it's easy, but because it's time. Your healing is waiting on the other side of that release. Don't delay it any longer. Don't stay stuck in pain that doesn't belong to your future. Open your heart, forgive, and watch how your healing begins. What you speak over your life is shaping your life. Every word you say, especially when you're under pressure, becomes a blueprint. And your body, your mind, your spirit, they follow that blueprint. You may not even realize it, but what you say repeatedly becomes what you believe. And what you believe becomes what you experience. You can pray for healing. But if you're constantly talking about sickness, you're reinforcing the very thing you're trying to escape. You're giving it a home in your identity. Words are not just sounds. They are signals. They tell your nervous system what to expect. They send messages to your brain, to your cells, to your future. When you say, my condition, my pain, my illness, you are not just describing reality, you are claiming ownership of it. And what you own, you keep. This is why shifting your language is not optional, it's essential. because your words either align with healing or they resist it. If you speak weakness, you reinforce limitation. If you speak fear, you empower it. But if you speak life, even when it hurts, you begin to change your internal chemistry. You interrupt the pattern. You invite something greater to take over. That's not denial. That's deliberate faith in motion. Because your body doesn't just respond to treatment. It responds to truth. And truth must be spoken again and again until it rewrites the story you've been telling yourself. Speak health, not just in prayer, but in your everyday conversations. Speak strength, not just when you're encouraged, but especially when you feel weak. Because every time you speak wholeness, you create space for healing to move. You are teaching your body what to believe. You are training your mind to expect something new. And your expectations create your emotional atmosphere. This is where many people get stuck. They believe in healing, but they speak as if it's out of reach. They pray for breakthrough, then immediately talk about the struggle. And without realizing it, they are building walls with their words. Walls that faith must climb over again and again. You were not created to live in contradiction. Your healing flows best when your language matches your belief. Change your confession not to impress anyone, but to align with the truth that sets you free. Stop claiming what you want to leave. Stop rehearsing what you want God to reverse. Speak what aligns with your healing. Declare what supports your restoration. And do it consistently, not emotionally. Because power isn't just in passion, it's in persistence. Your words are creating momentum. They are either moving you forward or holding you back. Choose life with your language. Choose faith with your vocabulary. Choose healing with every sentence you speak. Your voice is a tool. Use it to build what you've been praying for. Don't wait to feel better to speak better. Speak better now, because healing doesn't only come when symptoms leave. It begins the moment your words agree with your breakthrough. Your words create the environment, but your habits determine what grows in it. You can speak healing every day, but if your actions are working against your prayers, you're planting seeds in poisoned soil. Faith is not just what you say. It's what you do when no one's watching. It's not only in the declarations you make, but in the daily decisions you repeat. Because real transformation is not sustained by moments of inspiration. It's built through patterns of alignment. You can't pray for strength and then keep burning yourself out. You can't ask for healing while neglecting the body that's crying out for rest, for nourishment, for care. You can't hope for breakthrough and keep running back to the very habits that keep you stuck. There is no shame in this, only awareness. And with awareness comes power, the power to shift, the power to choose again, the power to align your faith with your follow through. You were not created to live in cycles of survival. You were made for wholeness. And wholeness is not just about spiritual faith. It's about physical stewardship. It's how you treat your body, what you feed it, how you let it rest, how you protect your peace, how you say no when your soul is crying for margin. Some people stay sick not because they lack belief, but because their lifestyle is breaking down what their prayers are trying to build. This isn't about perfection. It's about partnership. You do your part and heaven responds. But your part matters. Your part is sacred. What you allow into your mind, your routine, your space, it all contributes to your healing or your delay. Sometimes the miracle is waiting on the moment you start treating your body like it's already being healed, not just hoping for it to happen someday. Faith without works is not just ineffective, it's exhausting. Because you keep asking, but never aligning. You keep hoping, but never shifting. And the breakthrough feels distant, not because it's being withheld, but because it's being resisted, not intentionally, quietly, through choices made in the dark, through habits that feel small but speak loud. You have the power to change that, to begin again, to match your habits to your hope. You don't need to be extreme. You need to be intentional. Give your body rest. Feed it with wisdom. Move it with purpose. Guard your mind. Protect your energy. Stop waiting for healing to show up before you live like it's possible, live like it's on the way. Because it is. Let your actions become proof of your faith. Let your daily choices say what your prayers already declared. You are not powerless. You are not stuck. You are one decision away from stepping into alignment. And alignment is where healing flows. You've done what you can. You've spoken the words, shifted your habits, searched your heart, aligned your thoughts, and still it feels like nothing is changing. The pain hasn't left. The symptoms persist. The silence from heaven feels deafening. And this is where many give up, not because they lack faith, but because they don't understand the role of timing. Healing doesn't always arrive on our schedule. It comes in divine order, not human urgency. And sometimes the waiting is not punishment, it's preparation. Delay does not mean denial. Just because the answer hasn't come yet doesn't mean it's not coming. But in the waiting, your faith is being refined. Your trust is being tested. Not to break you, but to build something unshakable within you. Because healing is not just about what changes in your body, it's about what's being formed in your soul. Patience, endurance, deeper dependence. The kind of faith that doesn't waver when circumstances do. The kind that doesn't need immediate results to keep believing. This is where trust becomes more than a word. It becomes a posture, a decision. To believe that something is happening even when you can't see it. To believe that your prayers are still echoing, still moving things, still shifting atmospheres. To believe that healing is working its way through layers you didn't even know were wounded. Sometimes the body takes longer because the soul needed healing first. Sometimes the process is stretched, not because you're being overlooked, but because you're being completed. There is a strength built in the waiting that cannot be forged any other way. When you trust without proof, when you believe without confirmation, when you hold on to hope without a timeline, that's not weakness. That's maturity. That's growth. And often that inner healing becomes the very foundation your physical healing stands on. You are not forgotten. You are not being ignored. You are being shaped for something greater than relief. You are being prepared for restoration, complete, deep, lasting restoration. And when it comes, it won't just heal your body. It will renew your spirit, rebuild your strength, and redefine your faith. Keep going. Not because it's easy, but because you're closer than you think. Keep speaking life. Keep guarding your heart. Keep aligning your habits. Keep releasing the past. Keep trusting even when your emotions don't feel it. Because faith is not about what you feel. It's about what you choose. And if you choose to believe through the silence, you'll come out stronger than you ever imagined. Your healing is on the way. Not because you forced it, but because you stayed faithful. And that kind of faith moves mountains, not just outside of you, but within you. Don't let delay convince you to give up. Let it deepen your roots. Because what's growing underground is just as real as what you've been waiting to see. And when it breaks through, it will be worth every moment you held on. There comes a moment when you stop asking why and start declaring who you are, not based on what you feel, not based on what you see, but based on what's already been spoken over your life. Because healing doesn't begin when the symptoms disappear. It begins when your identity shifts. When you stop seeing yourself as the sick trying to get well and start standing as the healed walking through recovery. There's a difference. One is rooted in striving. The other is anchored in knowing. You were never meant to live beneath your circumstances. You were never created to spend your life begging for what's already been made available to you. Healing is not something you chase. It's something you align with. And that alignment begins with identity, not the labels others gave you, not the diagnosis, not the story that's followed you for years. But the truth of who you really are, whole, chosen, set apart, loved beyond comprehension, and designed for victory. Every lie that told you healing wasn't for you must be confronted. Every fear that whispered you weren't worthy has to be silenced. Because as long as you see yourself as broken, you will struggle to believe in restoration. As long as you see yourself through the lens of your struggle, you will question your right to be free. But freedom is not something you earn. It's something you step into. And the first step is deciding to believe what's true, even when everything around you contradicts it. You are not your pain. You are not your past. You are not what happened to you. You are not what the reports say. You are not your symptoms. You are not your struggle. You are more. You are stronger than what's tried to break you. You are bigger than what's tried to bury you. And if you can hold on to that truth, if you can anchor yourself in who you are, not just what you're feeling, you will walk through seasons others couldn't survive. Real healing begins when you stop waiting to feel worthy of it. You already are. Not because of what you've done, but because of who you belong to. The battle has never been about your condition. It's always been about your identity. The moment you realize that is the moment things begin to shift, not just around you, but within you. So stop rehearsing defeat. Stop repeating the script of limitation. Start speaking like someone who's already free. Start thinking like someone who's already restored. Walk like someone who knows they're on their way out of the storm. Talk like someone who knows healing is not just coming, but has already started. This is more than hope. This is truth. And when truth becomes your foundation, nothing can shake you. You've come too far to turn back. You've grown too strong to stay stuck. Stand up in who you are. Speak from it. Live from it. And healing will meet you there. If the enemy can't steal your body, he'll try to steal your belief. He'll whisper that nothing is changing, that your prayers are empty, that your faith is weak. He'll point to the pain, the delays, the setbacks, and try to convince you that healing isn't for you. But that voice is a liar. It always has been. Because it knows the moment you stop agreeing with defeat and start standing in truth, everything begins to shift. Healing starts in your spirit long before it's visible in your body. And the fight now is not just against sickness. It's for your agreement. Agreement is power. Whatever you agree with shapes your perspective, influences your emotions, and directs your choices. When you agree with fear, you shrink. When you agree with lies, you settle. But when you agree with truth, real truth, your entire atmosphere begins to change. The same body, the same circumstances, the same environment can hold different outcomes simply because your agreement changed. You're not waiting for a miracle. You're partnering with one right now in your thoughts, your words, your focus, your choices. The shift happens the moment you stop aligning with what you see and start aligning with what you know. You know you're not alone. You know your healing was never impossible. You know you were made for more than just surviving the pain. You were made to overcome it. You know your prayers have power not because of how loud they are, but because of the one who hears them. And you know deep down, even in the silence, that something is changing, even if it's unseen, even if it's slow, even if it's uncomfortable. This is where healing takes root, in your agreement with what is true, not just what is visible. Because visible evidence can lie. Pain can scream louder than progress. Symptoms can speak louder than faith. But none of those things define what's really happening beneath the surface. They don't see the spiritual realignment. They don't feel the chains that have already been breaking. They don't sense the breakthrough forming beneath the pressure. So hold the line. Anchor your agreement in truth, not in how long it's taking. Don't let fatigue change your confession. Don't let discouragement write your future. Stand in what you've already been given. The right to be healed. The authority to speak life. The power to overcome. You don't need permission to believe anymore. You already have it. You don't need another sign. You've already received the promise. The question now isn't whether healing is possible. The question is whether you'll keep agreeing with it even in the dark. Because what you agree with consistently, you begin to manifest. Healing isn't just what happens to you. It's what rises within you. And when your agreement lines up with your destiny, nothing can stop the breakthrough that's already begun. Stay aligned. Stay expectant. Stay grounded in truth. Your healing is already in motion.